enjoyed my time here. You know, it was a difficult time for the club. I think the players here at the time, you know, did the very, very best they could in what were difficult circumstances. I think, you know, a Rangers team that years earlier had spent a lot of money and sort of got themselves into a winning mode, really. And some very high quality footballers across the city. And the club was catching up. It had a few boardroom issues that needed sorting out, and the club was changing, really. And ultimately they came out the other end. Here we are. I'm now back. The club are again, you know, in comparison to the other sides in the SPL, at a strong level again. And we're just looking forward at the moment, you know, trying to regain our title this year, or the title, should I say, rather than our title. And looking forward to that challenge.
At that time, Tony, a bond formed between you and the fans, which is still there, probably formed out of adversity, both on the pitch and personally off it as well. And you must be very touched to see that affection is still there. I
felt a strong bond with Celtic fans, and anyway, in the interim years between leaving and sitting here today, I've only ever really had positivity from Celtic supporters, considering the era that I played in, where the club itself wasn't very successful. You know, and I suppose certain players could be tarnished with that as an era that wants to be forgotten and put past. But you know, I think generally I've had only good experiences with the Celtic supporters around the world, or wherever I've been, that I've met, and only been positive vibes. I come back understanding and knowing the commitment that they give to the club and the team, and I want to try and reward that with giving them a team that they can be happy with, and see us win with a bit of style. And it's not easy, of course. It's easy to talk them words. You've got a lot of hard work on the training ground. You need good footballers to play a certain way, and we'll work towards that over the coming years, hopefully.
One legacy of yours which has endured is the huddle, of course.
Out of adversity, things can grow and become stronger, really. And I think, you know, in the summer of '94, it probably was that it was conceived. You know, it was a tough time for the team. It was a tough time for the club. We were away on pre-season. I think I remember sitting at the back of the bus with the likes of Peter Grant, who's now here back at Celtic with us, and another group of players, and just deciding that, you know, we need to show some unity here. We need to stick together. We need to be strong, because, you know, it wasn't all sweet and roses at the football club. It was hard going, and there was a bit of flak flying from certain quarters, and I felt the team needed to stay strong, really. And what grew out of it was that from initially the team trying to stick together and support each other. The supporters linked onto it, and I think immediately, really, there was from the adversity that we're in, there was a strength that was gained from it, and as that season moved on, I think it was something that the supporters grasped hold of, really, that the team felt very strongly about, that the power coming from the stands when they break from the huddle, and however good a manager is, and however motivational he can talk and trying to inspire his team, there's nothing more powerful than the tool of the support in the terraces and the stands, letting the team know that they're with them and they're behind them. And I think that's where the strength of it comes from, really. That the team can never not be motivated for a football match. It can never be allowed to be just another game.
Earlier in your career, another former Celtic midfielder, a very famous one, Bobby Murdoch, had a big influence in you as a young player at Middlesbrough as well.
Well, Bobby was my youth team coach. I left school, and he was youth team coach at the time. I'd watched him because I was a Borough fan, and I'd watched him from the terraces, sort of majestically strolling around Middlesbrough's midfield, pinging balls everywhere across the pitch, left foot and right foot, and I felt very honoured leaving school, and Bobby Murdoch was the player who I'd watched and idolised, who was actually taking me for training, and he was a wonderful man. He used to drive me, as I became sort of like the head apprentice at the time as such, and so it was my job to make sure everything was organised, the balls were all out and the bibs were out and stuff. So I used to go in Bobby's car to train and get there early before the rest of the squad would get there to make sure the training was set out, and you know, I think we developed a strong bond, really, a strong relationship, and I still remember him now smashing balls in the top corner, because he liked to join in the training drills and the finishing drills, and the quality of technique he had at, I'm not sure how old he would have been at the time, but maybe in his early 40s or touching late 30s, early 40s, but his technique was was quite amazing really to watch, and yet he went on to manage the club and he gave me my debut, and you know, I never really looked back from Bobby sort of looking after me really as a young guy.
Who have been your mentors as a coach, Tony? I know you're a big fan of Arsenal and Arsene Wenger.
I used to travel for an hour on the train to watch Arsenal in every European game, watching Vieira and Petit and Adams, Keown and people like that, Thierry Henry drifting wide left and scoring wonderful goals. So I did watch, I think for a couple of seasons, watch every home game in the Champions League Arsenal played. And I think you can only but admire the way they play, the simplicity of their game, and yet the genius of it as well, and the talent of some of the individuals. You know, the brilliant runs of Freddie Ljungberg, you know, and diagonal runs across the pitch from the wide areas, and obviously the sublime talent of Henry. And yet from a very early age, in my early 20s, Bruce Rioch was somebody that sparked to life really the thought of football and coaching and method behind it, and giving players options on the pitch, and putting a team shape and structure into a football team, which grew and grew in me really to make me want to go on coaching courses, which made me want to learn more about the game, and hopefully I'm still learning today. At
the moment, Spanish football is very much in vogue, Tony. Is that something you like your team to aspire to, that kind of bit of flair but also a very pressing game as well?
Results dictate, and you know, Spanish did win the European Championship, Barcelona did win the Champions League. It's, you know, and I wouldn't sit here and ever say that we are going to be like Barcelona, but there's nothing wrong in aspiring to try and achieve excellence, and within what you believe in, within your philosophies. I've always believed there's nothing right and wrong in football, so if you've got a big 6'5" centre forward and you want to bang it long into him from your goalkeeper every time you get it, and push your midfield in behind and get the second balls and play in the final third, if it wins games, it's right, and people will buy into it. It's just not necessarily the way I see it. It doesn't mean I'm right and they're wrong, or vice versa. It's just trying to follow your own beliefs and philosophies of how the game should be played, and it can't be totally wrong if as I say, the success that those teams, because when you do watch the teams we've mentioned, you know, Arsenal, Barcelona, the Spanish national team, Manchester United, they all play an expansive passing game, and they've got to where they are really by doing that, and added the quality on the back of their success. And by winning allows you to bring more funds into the club because of the commercial things that go with successful teams, which allows you to spend money on better technical players, which allows you to develop your technical game, which ultimately somewhere down the line you get to the point where you can match a Barcelona or an Arsenal or a Manchester United in that type of game. When you have the ball, you can give those teams problems, and they struggle to get it back off you.
In terms of the domestic season, the target clearly is set to win the title back from Rangers, and you know from your previous time here at the club there are no prizes for second place in this city. No,
you know, as we're finding now, we have to deal with the aftermath of not winning the championship by going through these qualifiers, which are very, very difficult, and we understand that. That's never changed. That's always the case, and so we look forward to the challenge. We're here to try and be successful with the supporters. I think, you know, the this club is the fans, the numbers that they turn out, the commitment they give to the team. You know, it's important to me that they are happy really. We know we'll only achieve that by winning football matches, but hopefully winning in a manner that, as I say, makes them stick their chests out and feel proud to be Celtic supporters.